Welcome everyone to the first of this year's Coaches Corner for our first robotics competition. I'm Louis Rubo, the Team Development and Education Specialist with First Nevada. So the idea behind these monthly meetings is this is an opportunity for us to come together, coaches, mentors, as well as First Nevada, to just discuss the situation in terms of where the team should be at the moment, and also discuss what opportunities are available, and to make sure that the action items are being completed for the season. This is a great opportunity as well to have you as coaches and mentors ask questions of us to clarify anything we may have shared out through email or you saw on our Facebook, or just in general if you have any questions. So please feel free to ask them as we go on. This is definitely with the FRC community, a smaller, very intimate community. So we're here to, help and support each other. With that said, if you do have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. I know we have a number of our First Nevada people on here that will help monitor the chat. And since we are a small group, feel free to unmute yourself and just interrupt me and ask away. Last night we did the FLL version of this, and we had 60-some people on there, which was great. That a little different rules in that case, but with the FRC here, it's much smaller. So just interrupt me, unmute yourself, and just let me know what questions you have. This year, we are going to try to record these. Last night, it seemed we had a successful run with the FLL version of the Coaches Corner. So if you can't make it, they will be recorded and posted for you to review afterwards. With that said, I do want to remind everyone an option we did last year and we're continuing to do is First Nevada host a repository, if you will, is a folder within our Google Drive system where we gather up all the resources that are available to us. And we want to share with you. Actually, I want to thank Joe. If you go into this folder, you're going to see a whole bunch of FRC resources in there that we used to hand out on flash drives, but now we just put them into this folder. But also what you'll find in there is all of our coaches' corners, both the presentation slides that you're seeing right now, as well as a copy of the recording from our meetings. As we progress into the workshops and whatnot, we'll have those presentation slides in there as well. This year, we went to a static folder, and so the link that I have there, the QR code for, is going to be the same link from here on out. So hopefully this will continue to work for us. I have taken last season, a few other seasons, and archived a couple of items that may be of use to teams. So if you do go into that folder, you'll find some resources from prior years in there as well. So being our first Coaches Corner, here's our agenda. I kind of just want to lay out what resources we have there to support you as a coach. I also want to talk about what the season calendar is going to look like. And when I say season, that's everything from today through the Las Vegas Regional next March. And then I want to end on some action items that everyone should be working on for this season to get ready for it. Before I get too far, I do want to welcome, we have 3 rookie teams coming on board this year. 2 of them in the north, so we're finally getting some expansion in the north. Galena High School out of Reno has joined us, as well as Churchill County High School in Fallon. They are both joining us from the north. And in the south, we brought on Basic High School, or Basic Academy of International Studies, to put a mouthful in there. So we have 3 rookie teams joining us this year. We're really excited for. And thank you everyone who helped support them. And I'm sure we're going to be reaching out to you throughout the year to help them out, especially since 2 of them are in the north. We're going to support them remotely as best as we can, as well as in person with some satellite opportunities. I think if I saw Adam is on here, so at least one of the coaches I see has joined us. For our newer coaches and our rookie coaches, for sure, I just want to say, we understand how that first year is kind of overwhelming at times. And so we just want to say, we understand. We've all been there. We've all had a rookie season at once, if not multiple times, if we've done multiple programs. And so we understand that it feels like you may be drinking from a fire hose over a very large fountain. In this case, that's a picture of me, in fact, from Riley. I think a year ago, we were at a conference together. We understand it can be very overwhelming. And all I ask is just kind of bear with us as we get you through that first season. What you're going to do feel like is it's just too much. But remember, even though you're getting blasted with a lot of water, per se, you're still able to drink. And so just drink what you can. And with time, you'll be able to kind of absorb more and more of it as the season goes on. and as you become a more veteran coach. And if you ever have any questions or have any concerns, or if you're not having fun in general, just let us know. We'll reach out and we'll talk you through, maybe prioritize what's going on and help kind of cut the fat off of there so you can really see what are those few items you need to do. But we understand this first year it's going to be challenging, but we're here to support you all the way through it. So I do want to go into our First Nevada resources. And speaking of ways we can help you out, is I want to dive into what is First Nevada and talk about the resources we have for our coaches. So First Nevada is a nonprofit organization. Our job is to deliver all of the FIRST programs throughout the state. And so if you're familiar with it, FIRST Robotics Competition is only one part of a whole suite of programs that FIRST offers. Besides the high school FIRST Robotics Competition, there is FIRST Lego League for our youngest kids, FIRST Tech Challenge for those middle and high school students, and then of course what we're here talking about today is the FIRST Robotics Competition. So First Nevada, as a nonprofit, our job and our responsibility is to administer all of those FIRST programs here in Nevada. And what we mean by administer is we're here to support our teams, to help train them, to make sure they're prepared. And we're also right here to provide those competitions towards the end of the season. And so for really, you're going to interface with us most of the way through the year. However, I do want to point out that there is another FIRST involved, and this can be kind of confusing. So First Nevada is that delivery organization here locally in the state to provide the FIRST programs to you. There, in addition to that, is FIRST what we call headquarters, and they are the ones responsible for developing the game every year. So as we enter this CRESCENDO season, they're the ones that came up with that game. They're the ones that define what the matches are like, what the rules are like, and then we deliver that set of standards to you. So you're going to find out that a lot of resources kind of are split between the two of us. FIRST headquarters is really all about the gameplay and the rules. First Nevada is about the delivery of them. And so if you have any questions, come to us first, and we will happily answer them. We may be pointing you to resources that we provide, or we might be pointing you to a resource that comes from FIRST headquarters. But any questions you have, you're welcome to join us first, and we'll find that answer to your question. So with that said, I do want to introduce some key people involved with the delivery of the program. I know both of these individuals are on the call. Angela Quick is dual hats for us. She is the executive director for First Nevada's nonprofit organization, but she's also the program delivery partner for the FIRST Robotics Competition. Angela, do you want to say a few words? No, you're muted, so you have to sign language them.
Guess what I'm saying. Hi, everyone. Looking forward to an exciting season. I know I sent out an email with a lot of information and content the other day, but we'll start parsing that down. And then these coaches corners are a great way to just kind of touch base and, you know, see where you should be during the season and also connect with other teams. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
And the other person shown here is the assistant regional director to Angela. And of course, she's our main grants administrator, Leilani. Do you want to say a few words?
I'm here, but I'm multitasking. So great to see everybody. Thanks.
And I know a lot of you have already received information from both of them. As Angela has already sent out information by email regarding some important points at the beginning of the season. And of course, Leilani is the main person we interact with in terms of paying for team registration. And so you'll get a lot of emails from the two of them. In addition to Leilani and Angela, there's the main three team support people in the state. So I'm there on the left. I'm the team development education specialist. I've been in this role, I guess now is this my third season going into this. It's been a lot of fun. I work cross-program supporting teams. So if you have any questions on the technical side and whatnot, I will try to help answer them. And if I cannot, I will find someone who can. Helping out as well with team support is Scott Duncan in the north and Riley Camp here in the south. They both in this role now. This is their second season. Scott is from FTC. He's also a program delivery partner. He's now learning and getting familiar with FRC. Riley is actually an alumni of 987, and so he comes to us with a lot of background in the FRC community. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to any 5 of us. If you don't know who to reach out to, well, we're always in meetings all week long with each other. So if you ask one of us, we all end up hearing the question. And so whoever you feel comfortable with, just email that person first and foremost, and we will go find that solution for you. And eventually over the time, you'll just kind of build a rapport with whoever, and feel free to send any of us any of your questions. One thing I want to talk about up front is we will communicate largely by email. So we're trying to do a lot of our work asynchronously because we all have different schedules. And so email is our primary source of sharing information. So important point, and I'm going to reiterate this at the end of the Coaches Corner today, is coaches, your emails are automatically added to our email distribution list. So you have to make sure that the information you provide in your team dashboard is correct. And we use that information as our primary source for sending out information. Now, of course, FRC is a very large program, and a lot of our teams have more than just their lead and secondary coach. They bring on additional mentors. Those contacts we don't necessarily have. So coaches, if you want to send us your mentors' emails, of course, check with them first. We will add it to our distribution list. They can also add themselves if they go to the First Nevada website. If you scroll to the bottom, there's a way to join our distribution list at the bottom of that homepage. The other request we have is that if you can please send us your student captains or presidents, however you structure your team, if you can send us their contact information, that's very helpful. When we send out our news blasts, sometimes there's a bottleneck of a single point of contact for a team. So when we have multiple points of contact, it really helps us disseminate our information. Now, we've sent out 2 emails with this request. Angela sent one out last week, and then Angelo, who's also on here as our new first senior mentor, you will have received an email from him a couple days ago. If you can reply to either of those emails, just send us information about your mentors and your team captains and presidents. The third option is, I know a few of our teams operate a kind of generic team social media or whatnot email. Feel free to send that as well to us, and we'll add that to our distribution list. The other resource I want to share with you is our Facebook group. So I know not everybody uses Facebook, and we recognize that, but we have put together a community here on Facebook as a private group where we reshare information, because we do recognize not everyone is active on Facebook. But if you are, we do invite you to join our group here. It's a place for us to share and reiterate and remind our coaches of some important information. So if there's an upcoming grant deadline, or the coaches' corners are coming up, or we have a workshop, we put that on there. But we use this as our secondary layer of information, the primary being those emails that you will receive. But if you are on Facebook, we do invite you to join this group. We're pretty active in it. And I know, for example, some of our coaches will send me, hey, could you share this out with everyone? And I'll throw it out on Facebook as a good way to share out a little bit of information as well. Okay, that was our kind of blast through our resources from First Nevada. Is there any questions so far? I'm seeing it. We have a lot of our veteran coaches here. All right, not hearing any questions. What I'm going to do is dive into this year's CRESCENDO season calendar. So one of the resources we do provide is a dynamic calendar that we put on our First Nevada website. So if you go to firstnevada.org and you navigate over to the events tab, there is a calendar on there that's embedded in there. What we do is we use this as our first touch point in terms of sharing out information about our events. We do call it a dynamic calendar, because what happens is as we get more and more information, we directly update this calendar and push it out there first. Teams and coaches are welcome to subscribe to the calendar. We have information on the website just below the calendar on how you can do that subscription. So for example, here, what you see there is kind of a screenshot from the calendar for this event, the September Coaches Corner. If you go to the calendar and you click on an event, you'll get a pop-up window with more information. For the Coaches Corner, it will be a description of what we're going to cover. If it's a workshop, it may include as well registration link to sign up for that workshop. This is really one of our key sources of information. We do push out things as they become more available. So for example, if you're looking at this calendar in the summer, it would just be basically a title on a date. And then as we get a location and we have more specific information, we'll automatically put it on there. And then of course, as anything changes, we push it out through here as well. Do pay attention that this calendar is for all of our FIRST programs. So you will see color coding depending on the program. What's nice is the blue for FRC really sticks out. Unfortunately, the orange of FTC and the red of FLL kind of mixed together, but we try to also put the acronyms at the beginning of our titles. So you'll see, in this case, FRC Coaches Corner, and it's a blue code to tell you that's what you should be kind of keying on as an FRC coach. Take a moment, let you absorb this in. Here's our list of coaches corners and workshops for this CRESCENDO season. So here we are on September 20th. I hope I got that date right. Yes, September 20th, we're doing our September Coaches Corner. Coming up is we have a sequence, and I didn't do this on purpose. This is completely coincidental. I bolded all of the events that are meant to be in person, and everything that is virtual or remote is just in normal font. And it turned out it kind of rotates naturally. So we're doing a remote Coaches Corner right now. Next time we get together is on October 14th when we do our fall conference. I have a slide dedicated to that, so I'll go into that in more depth here in a moment. And then we go to another Coaches Corner in October, and we keep rotating through the season. So these are opportunities for you as a team and a coach to come together, network, and to learn more about FRC. We have, in the past, we spread out our workshops throughout the entire calendar year, the academic year, I should say. This year, we are going to try something different where we bring all our workshops together with the exception of 2. So in November 4th, we are going to have a marketing and business workshop at UNLV. I'll talk about that more in a moment. We're also going to have our normal chassis build following kickoff at UNLV as well. We also have on here our scrimmage, which is hosted by 987, which will be a week 0 event. For the moment, I just kind of want to see that about basically once a month, we'll have a coaches corner, and about once a month, we will have some sort of in-person activity where we all come together. And you're going to hear all season long about this information. So I just want to kind of give you an idea of this calendar early on. So let's talk about that fall conference as well as the spring one. So in the past, what we have done is usually about now, I would put out a call to all the FRC teams asking them, what workshops would you like to host? And what dates would you like to run them? And what we're finding is a lot of our FRC teams are putting a lot of work into these workshops, doing a great job, but we weren't getting a strong turnout. And part of that was there were just so many workshops all over the Las Vegas area. It was hard to coordinate getting teams to and from week in and week out to these different workshops. So one of the thoughts we had was, let's just bring all the workshops together at one location on one day. And that will limit the number of times teams have to travel to a location. And so the hope here is that by asking all of our teams to just dedicate 2 days out of the entire academic year to come together for these kind of team-to-team workshops, we're hoping to have a larger turnout. And so we have 2 dates, October 14th, which will be our FRC Fall Conference. That will take place at Cimarron. And traditionally, in the last few years, they have hosted a fall kind of workshop already where they worked through multiple stations. The difference this year is we're inviting other teams to provide, if you will, conference sessions. And right now, they're roughly structured to be 90-minute sessions where teams can present on whatever they want. And I sent out an email about a week and a half ago, kind of putting a call out for there. I've received some responses. I'd like to see some more come in. And those who have responded, I have seen them. I haven't had a chance to respond to you yet, but I know I got Green Valley, I have Desert Oasis, and I have Cimarron all putting in for some workshops here, and some great ones too. I'm really excited. Coaches, I really would like to see your teams kind of maybe coming out and suggesting a few others. If you're a younger team, we understand maybe you're not quite ready to share yet, but we really would like to see you there all the same. This is a wonderful opportunity not only to help train our students in the fall to get ready for the Crescendo season, but it's also an opportunity to network. What we realized, like we saw recently, a lot of our coaches just don't know each other yet, and we're wonderful resources for each other. So by having this conference style workshop, we can bring together the coaches directly. And that was our hope as well, is not only to train the students, but also have an opportunity to network throughout there. So if you have an idea for a workshop, please send me an email. I will be tapping a few more people on the shoulder, asking them to provide some topics to discuss as well. Just let me know. We are going to do a sister version of this in the spring. The idea is the fall one is really about skill building and recruitment and team management. So all the things we do in the off season. The spring conference is really going to be like, okay, we know what the game is now. How do we go through and prepare for the Crescendo game? And so the spring version is going to be a lot more about how do you design that robot? How do you actually program that robot? What is the engineering design process like throughout the season? What does a calendar look like during the build season? That's what the spring conference is really at. The fall conference is much more about, we know we're in the off season. Let's get ready as a team for that season coming up. Any questions on that? I want to pause for a moment just on this. Any questions on the conference since this is a new idea?
Well, yeah, just a comment and response to Jenny's question. Currently, we have 8 distinct locations on campus to facilitate 8 different distinct workshops. How does that fit with the numbers that you're looking at so far as distinct presentations? So
I know I only have 3 teams have submitted proposals. And then UNLV, Brendan O'Toole has also asked if they can present as well. And so we may get 1 or 2 from them. I'm right now looking at maybe 6 or so presentations. I'm hoping to kind of shake the tree a little bit more to get some more to fall out. I did put a deadline at the end of September, so about 10 days from now.
Okay.
The end of next week, then you and I can converse some more about exactly what does the agenda look like at that point.
Okay. Jenny's question as far as, is there a limited number of people at the fall workshop each team could bring? That, again, I guess depends on expected participation. But in the past, we've had a pretty good saturation of the facilities with a limit of around 10 per team. And I know it's not ideal, but there's no way that we can facilitate some of these workshops with numbers that are a lot greater than that. I guess if you think of it this way, if there are 8 distinct offerings, then maybe if you had 16 that you brought, you'd be able to cover a lot. But if we're at 20 teams, 16, do the math, right? That's 320. There's no way we can quite handle that.
And so I do have, to that point, Joe, a little bit, there is a registration form available that does ask the number you anticipate bringing. And Jenny, I would say just for the moment, go ahead and put in the max, so we can figure out if we have to make some adjustments. Just understand that maybe some of this, we may have to reduce that back a little bit. The other thing I want to emphasize is everybody is invited and should come out to this, even if you're not presenting. So I really want to emphasize to our younger teams, our rookie teams, our sophomore teams, come out. And we really want to see you and talk with you and share these best practices with you. And so, Joe, I think we're going to pick up, 10-ish kids from each of those teams as well, who are not presenting yet.
Okay.
Tracy's point, that is one of my major to-do items for tomorrow, is to respond to the 3 who have submitted this and to get some clarifications as to, I know, Tracy, I want to ask you specifically, I think one of your workshops is really good for the fall, and the other one I think would be really good for the spring. And so just kind of distributing those concepts out over the 2 different workshops as well. So that is my major action item for tomorrow, is to respond to you guys about which proposals you have submitted. Yeah, and do bear with us. This is a new idea, and we're hoping to get more attendance. So definitely it might grow. We'll find out. So just bear with us. You might get an email a week ahead of time saying, well, sorry, can we just pull back the number of students you're bringing to that event, which we've done it for FLL and it worked out. Yeah.
Okay.
But good, very fair question. Yeah. Following the fall the fall conference is we do have the UNLV Marketing and Business Workshop. This is something that had happened before, pre my time. I should say pre my time in Nevada, not before I was born. Pre my time here in Nevada. So this happened before COVID. The Lee Business School at UNLV hosted a number of talks all related to marketing and business. And as we understand and know, FRC is much more than robots. Each of our teams more or less operate as a mini business. And so this is a great opportunity here directly from the staff and faculty at UNLV on how you should be operating and running your team in terms of as a business. So we have 4 distinct topics so far. One's on entrepreneurship, one's on budgeting, one's on fundraising, and the last one is on marketing. This is about 3/4 long event on a Saturday. Lunch will be provided to our teams. So we do very much recommend you come out to this. We are cross-promoting this between FRC and FTC. So we're hoping to get a good turnout there. There is a registration link available. So please fill that out as best you can. We just want to know rough numbers of how many will be attending. And again, this is on Saturday, November 4th. So if you will, just kind of sign up for that and let us know if your team will be attending and how many. So keep working our way through the actual calendar. Besides the Coaches Corner, the next time we'd meet in person, of course, is the big kickoff, which this year will be on Saturday, January 6th. As we did last year, we'll have a main kickoff in the south, and we'll have a satellite kickoff in the north. More or less at the same location with one change here. In the north, we will stay at the K-12 Robotics Center at the Southside School. And now we have some more southern teams, so we're hoping to bring them together there. In the south, we will still be at UNLV. However, because we keep growing, we're going to shift over, and we will now be in the SEB auditorium, which is close by to where we were in the past. But basically, just think about, let's get to UNLV on January 6th, and we'll take care of you from there. And we'll give more details as we get closer. For now, I just want you to mark your calendar, January 6th, plan to be at either UNLV if you're a southern team, or head up to the K-12 robotics space if you're a northern team. We will continue with the idea of a chassis build at the southern event as well. After our kickoff, the next time we'll get together is a scrimmage, which we've traditionally done at Cimarron and will continue to do. Cimarron opened their doors to us again on February 24th, which what we'll do there is we'll have all the teams come together, potentially have another workshop or two, but the main point of the scrimmage here is Cimarron will have their full field available with the game elements on there, so teams can take the robot and put them directly on the field and get an opportunity to test out their ideas. Of course, as we are always with FRC, it's a great opportunity to learn from each other, to get ideas, get help with building. Some of the machine shop will be available, of course, with some supervision. On the bottom right there, we'll have our pits open as well, so teams can build and work on their robot throughout the scrimmage. This is a great time to just come and say, okay, we're stuck on this. Can you help us build this? Or we have some little apparatus we can't work on, or the program is just not working, or you want to test out your autonomous on the actual CRESCENDO field. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to do that. So do mark your calendars. February 24th at Cimarron is we will have our scrimmage. And then, of course, the thing we're all working towards is the Las Vegas Regional. As has been for a while, we're a week 5 event, which on the calendar means it's March 27th through the 30th. Do note that that is going into the Easter weekend. But of course, we'll be all wrapped up before the actual Easter day itself. Same thing as always. Basically, we're rinsing and repeating what was happened in the past. So we'll have our pits on one side there. We'll have the fill in the other. We'll have our traditional load in on Wednesday evening. We'll have a Thursday full of our inspections going on, as well as our practice matches. Friday will be full of our qualification matches. Saturday will be part qualification in the morning, followed by the playoffs in the afternoon. So if you've been to a Las Vegas regional before, it's the exact same format as before. We found it's been a lot of fun and success there. For our new coaches joining us, basically do note that your team will be on property on the UNLV campus basically from Wednesday evening when we do load in, all day Thursday, all day Friday, and all day Saturday. So it is a 3-day, full day event with load in happening on that Wednesday evening. And Angela just put in there a schedule for you as well to kind of see what's going to happen throughout there. Of course, the big thing I want you to know right now is tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m., teams that are registered can start selecting their first preference for an event. Some caveats about that is you have to be a registered team with 2 YPP screen coaches on your dashboard. You also have to be what they labeled as event ready. And what that means is when you go into your dashboard, if you're seeing red, you're not event ready. So there might be something you have to clean up with your event team, your team profile, and whatnot. There is a guide here to kind of walk you through what those restrictions will be. The idea of the event preferencing is you have 1 week starting tomorrow morning to rank all the regionals that you think your team is going to attend. If you're only going to attend one regional, make sure to sign up for that one regional and make that your preference. Okay. So this is your opportunity to say, hey, here's a list of all the events out here. These are the ones we want to go to. Now, as Nevada-based teams, we hope and expect to see you at the Las Vegas Regional, especially if you are sponsored by Tesla or the NDE. So now also, I want to say with the event preferencing, you get a week to make your rankings. When you do it during the week, it does not matter. So it's actually technically, if you dive into it, there's a lottery system involved. So don't feel like tomorrow at 9 a.m. you have to be on the computer doing your ranking. You get the whole week to do it. And in fact, you can sign in tomorrow, put in some initial thing, change it during that week, and it won't affect anything about what your preferencing is. So just know you have to, at some point during the week, just let the first system know which of the regionals you prefer to go to. And just keep in mind, Vegas, week 5, March 27th to the 30th. And
hey, Rubo, sorry, are all of our teams actually registered?
That's a Leilani question. I think we have a handful more we're finalizing. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely our rookie teams, I know we're still kind of finishing up. Yeah. And as Angela is reminding us in the chat there, all Tesla, NDE, and Gene Haas funded teams are required to compete at the Las Vegas Regional. So that was our season calendar. Is there anything you want to ask questions on? Any discussion?
Just to throw in here regarding our regional here. I think I make this ask every year, but we could really, when I say we, I mean 97, could really use some commitment from a few teams to help us with the tear down. Especially after working so hard for the previous 4 days. We've reached a point where I'm pretty darn tired. And if we had a couple more teams hanging out, the thing would be done in half the amount of time. And so that's really sticking around for another hour or so would probably do the trick.
And as Angela was saying, I'll reiterate, it's a really important point to just echo what Joe said. We are a community, and we want to kind of build and work together. And so, Joe, keep reminding me as we get closer and closer.
Sure.
And I will keep pinging these teams, and you see Tracy there happily going to add some to it. And if we can get some numbers, if you need like 50 students or if you need 15 students, so that would kind of give us a way to push on people and twist arms a little bit better. If you want like every team to donate 5 students, that probably would be helpful. And look, you've already got, so screenshot this now, Joe. You got Tracy and you got Diane saying you got Bonanza and Desert Oasis already committing.
And that would do it.
Yep.
With just 5-6 kids each team hanging around to help out.
Yep. And then we got A-Tech in there now too. Yep. Nice.
Yay. Thank you, everybody.
Any other questions related to the season schedule? All right, so what I want to do now is I want to dive into kind of the action items for you as coaches and mentors that you should be kind of thinking about and working on at the moment. Obviously, I just talked about event preferencing. That starts tomorrow morning. And the way you do it, again, if you're confused or you're new to this, the best thing is go to this user guide and it'll walk you through with screenshots how to do it. And what you do is you sign into your team dashboard and you click on certain spots and it'll walk you through it. And this guide literally does a pictorial walkthrough for you. So if you have any questions, start there, come to us afterwards and we can help out. So first things first, just a reminder to our teams, and I'm really almost speaking more to our veteran teams because Leilani's working with our rookie teams to make sure this is true. You have to have 2 adult coaches that have gone through the YPP screening. And I bring this up for our veterans because we do know and understand that with the school system, teachers change locations quite a bit. And so sometimes, we have some of our teams that are really kind of being led by just one coach, but that secondary coach may be moving schools. We just want to make sure you are event ready. And one of the requirements to be event ready is you do have 2 screened adult coaches. And so just take a moment, look at your dashboard and just make sure that you don't have that red outstanding task of a missing coach who hasn't gone through YPP screening. Also keep in mind that this cycles through, and I always forget, every 4 or 5 years, I always forget which number, you have to redo every 5 is what Joe's putting up there. You do have to complete that background screening. So just make sure that your team has 2 screen coaches on it to move forward, because you cannot do your event preferencing, you can't do your opting out, as I'm going to talk about here in a moment, until that has been cleared. Also along those lines, again, if you have coaches that are changing or whatnot, do make sure we have the most accurate email for them in there, because the way we build our distribution list is we pull reports from FIRST and we look at what are the emails associated with those coaches. So do make sure, again, that your coaches on your team dashboard have the most accurate contact information, specifically that email, because that's what we're using to contact you with that key information. So if you are changing out coaches or if your own email changed, just make sure that you have that most updated information in the FIRST system so that we can contact you. All right, now I'm going to just kind of blitz through a couple of ideas here. Last year, UNLV ran an FRC course. It was a year-long course where what happened was undergraduate and graduate students at UNLV, they spent the year building a FRC robot in the fall, and then in the spring, they went out into the field and helped mentor our teams. This year, the registration, the student number registration, I should say, has gone up. The class is actually bigger. And so hopefully that means we'll have more mentors heading out to our schools. Due to restrictions on personal identification information, we cannot just give UNLV all of the emails from our coaches. So what we do instead is we have this passive way for you as a coach, if you're interested in receiving or potentially getting a UNLV student mentor, we're asking you to fill out this form, and this will share your information directly with the faculty at UNLV so they can potentially send out a UNLV mentor during the season. And again, it's just an extra step we have to do because we can't directly share your contact information. So we just share this opportunity out for you, and then in return, you just have to fill out this form if you're interested in potentially having a UNLV mentor. Last year, talking to the teams, it was a huge success. and seeing how involved they were. So definitely, this is a wonderful opportunity for you. And I know a lot of our coaches reach out to us year after year if there's such a thing exists. And yeah, it does. And so definitely don't pass up on this opportunity. Another comment here. We are at the end of the Tesla education investment, which means there's no new rookie teams coming on this year. But those teams who have been supported in the past, you will continue that 5-year commitment, which means that Tesla will be paying a portion of your registration fee, as well as if you are supported by the Nevada Department of Education. Part of your registration fee will be paid from either one of those two sources. So just a reminder, please don't pay towards your registration fee if you know you're supported by Tesla or the NDE. The one exception here is our rookie teams. You know, we've actually promoted and asked you if you can fill out that NASA grant, you go ahead and go after that NASA grant, or if I know some of you are going for Argosy as well. It's okay to use the NASA grant to pay your registration fee, and we'll backfill with their other grants. So just as a reminder, please don't pay for your registration if you know you're being supported from Tesla or NDE. It just complicates things with the FIRST system and trying to back out that money if you can at all. Because once FIRST gets a hold of it, they don't like to give it back. So, yeah. As a reminder as well, because the Tesla and NDE is coming to an end, I do want to kind of emphasize, and we'll be repeating this multiple times this season, you are operating a mini business here. And so as the years progress from here on out, you will be taking on more and more of those fees for yourself as a team. And so this is a great transition year to really kind of start ramping up your fundraising opportunities and abilities as a team. And I do want to reference two really helpful resources for you, both of them provided by FIRST. The first one I want to talk about is their fundraising toolkit. It's quite extensive. I have a link there on the left to it. If you go to that site, there's some great little YouTube videos, kind of fun, interactive ways to kind of remind you of the different parts of fundraising. It's not just simply going out and asking for money. There's a lot more to it, including building a sponsored packet, maintaining relationships, as well as presentation skills. All of that is covered in the fundraising toolkit. And one of the best things about it is there is a plethora of examples in there. So if you want to know what a sponsoring packet looks like, there's a whole bunch of them in there for you to reference and build off of. You don't have to invent the wheel. It's already there. You just need to figure out how to use it best for your team. The other thing I want to point you to is the team grant page. FIRST kind of aggregates together all of the grants that they're aware of. And I do want to emphasize this, not exhaustive, but there's a lot of grants listed on that webpage that you can access. Some of are restricted to certain programs, certain territories or regions, or certain experiences. So sometimes it's only for rookie teams, sometimes it's only for veteran teams, but it's still a great place to go to and shop for potential grants that can support your team. So that would really be one of the first places if you're looking for funds and you're trying to get get your coffers a little bit bigger, go there and check out what FIRST has. And again, I do want to emphasize it's not exhaustive. Not every grant that can support a FIRST team is listed there, but it's still a great starting point. In fact, one of the grants that's out there for you that we've been sharing on Facebook and through email is the Gene Haas Foundation grant. Really, every single team should be applying for this grant. It's available to all of our public school teams, our private school teams that have a 501c3 status, as well as any registered team, including community teams if they have a 501c3 status. So basically, I think that covers everyone in our state. So everyone, please apply for this money. It's $2,500 for our FRC teams and unrestricted funds. So this can support things like your pits, your team shirts, your travel, some food, all the additional stuff that maybe you're not getting through the Tesla or NDE. It's there for you to use. Really just go in there and fill out that application process. I don't believe there's a deadline in time, but there is a deadline in the sense of first come, first serve. So definitely you want to be applying for this money as soon as possible in there. If you've done this in the past, I've heard that the grant is a little bit more involved this year. I believe it's asking for a sponsor packet. Again, refer to that first fundraising toolkit for some guidance on that if you need some help. But please, all of our teams should be asking for this funding.
Hey, Rubo,
Yes.
have, to your knowledge or others, any confirmations come from Gene Haas Foundation indicating which applications were received?
Are you asking, so just received versus which ones have actually been funded?
Yeah, I'm assuming they're going to be funded if they're local.
I can share more. So they sent us a list. Your team in particular, James, finished up some submission information this week. So they do them in batches. So they send me every week or so a list of teams that have incomplete things. There's a little bit more information they're requiring this year that I didn't realize they didn't share with me ahead of time, but they're asking for kind of sponsorship packets. When it says roster, don't send team names. That's PII. They just want to see, like, they need to show validation that there's really students tied to teams.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's coming from, but they support all over. But they, if you have team photos, if you're a new team, just indicate you're a new team and maybe do a quick photo of the current students you have. But it's somewhat minimal, but they do require some more information this year than in prior years. So if I don't reach out to your team asking for more information, that means that you're not showing up as incomplete. But for Simrom in particular, I think James completed some stuff this week.
Okay, yeah, good. Thank you. And I just wanted
Sure.
others to have a sense of where they might stand as well. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
So as I do remind teams that it is that time to start really kind of ramping up your fundraising after these last few years, which we understand doesn't include the COVID years. Do be mindful that as you reach out to potential sponsors, that First Nevada is a nonprofit organization, and we have our own sponsors that we've been cultivating over many years. And just be very mindful, and please do not solicit it from them. If you're unsure if a particular industry partner is already a First Nevada supporter, we have our website there. Just scroll through there and see who we're working with. And understand, and the reason for this is fundraising is a long ball game. And as you saw firsthand with Tesla, it can mean big things. And so, if we're both kind of going to these industry partners, it can get very confusing and sometimes undo some very helpful things. So just be very mindful, and please do not solicit those sponsors already at First Nevada, just because, we might have a bigger picture happening that we're not ready to share yet. And then they get really confused about, well, why is this team reaching out when we're having this key conversation with First Nevada over there? And that's the main reason for why we want just kind of remind you of that. And hopefully history has shown it has worked out in a number of times moving forward.
Hey, just a quick note regarding current fundraising opportunities. Probably one of the best opportunities would be each team's individual school.
Mm-hmm.
This year, every school has received a massive increase in funds for their operational costs. So the budget's expanded considerably at every single school as part of the money that made its way down from the state with that huge increase. So I would strongly suggest that everybody maybe try to be a little more intentional and aggressive with their administration to try to get some more support than they're used to doing.
And is that funding in any way behind CTSO or anything, or is it kind of just open?
Now, I'm talking about just for the general budget of each school. There's huge increases.
That is good to know. Yep. So look poor and hide all the equipment we bought you guys. No. Last thing I want to remind things is actually kind of my last reminder here is we have about a month, in fact, just under a month. Teams have the option to opt out of certain items that they receive at kickoff. And we'll talk more about this coming up, but our next Coaches Corner is right before this deadline, so I just kind of want to bring it up now. So what happens is at kickoff, you're going to receive a pile of goodies. And there's actually physically 4 things that are kind of in that pile. Everyone is going to receive game-specific, so this here, CRESCENDO-specific items. And then in addition to that, there's going to be what we call a black tote full of items. There's a gray tote, and then the drive-based kit. When you become a veteran team, you start to pile up, and you have a whole library of parts at your school. And FRC recognizes that. And so it gives teams an option of not receiving some of these parts at kickoff. And so you can opt out of some items. So for example, if you already have a drive base that you can reuse, there's no reason for you to get one again. And so the idea is you can opt out of it as a veteran team. And then what you do is in exchange is you get vouchers to spend on buying other items. And the deadline to opt out is October 19th. And I just bring it up for one reason, just as a reminder. Now, rookies, if you're a new team, take everything. You need everything, and you're going to get a drive-based kit. The gray tote very specifically has electronics that you must have to run your robot. So you're going to get that. The black tote is going to have additional parts that help build your robot. And then, as I said, everyone gets the game-specific robot, game-specific items. New this year is FRC is actually in they call a kit bot. So for our veteran teams, you've heard, of course, of the EveryBot. What they're trying to do is they're moving away from Team 118, building that EveryBot, because it does take some early knowledge of the game to do it. And this has been a request coming out of the field for a long time. So FRC has actually developed a kit bot themselves that in lieu of the EveryBot. That kit bot is going to be built out of a combination of the drive base, the gray tote, and black tote materials all together, in addition to potentially having to buy a few items from your local hardware store. Rookies, basically the good news here is this year for the first time, FRC is going to give out instructions on building a basic introductory robot. It's not the end-all be-all ultimate robot. It's one that will allow you to score some of the game, not necessarily all of it. We don't know what the kit bot's going to look like this year, but it is a guided way to build your initial robot. And it's supposed to be a robot that is easy to add on and adapt and iterate off of. And again, we don't know what it looks like because they haven't released it, because it does interact with this year's game. From the perspective of opting out, do recognize that it does incorporate those 3 parts, the drive base, the gray tote, and the black tote. Veteran teams, you should not have to worry or thinking about that kit bot when you're making the decision about the black tote opt-out. The idea is just think about what your team has as resources, make the choice as if the kit bot didn't exist, and go ahead and decide for yourself if you want in or out for that black tote in lieu of your vouchers. Same with the drive base, the idea there is the same as always. But for our rookie teams, this is really kind of a cool idea, is that you will have this year a guided experience where you'll get most of the parts to build a robot that can compete. In addition, as they've said, they're going to release some CAD as well as programming instructions for this robot. So there's it's kind of a nice new resource for our rookie teams this year. I can't really say more because I don't know anything beyond what I just said. They really haven't released details about that kit bot yet. But I just want to remind our veterans that your opt-out time is October 19th. The black tote decision should not be in any way influenced by that kit bot concept at all. Our rookie teams just recognize, take everything and go with it. Yep. Good. And with that, I'm really done with all of my announcements. What questions, concerns, or thoughts are you having right now as teams and coaches?
Hey, Rubo, I just want to mention, Jenny had put a note that they have a Andy Mark chassis that's built and it needs a home with a rookie team. So I commented Adam might want to use it at basic high school. So maybe they can get connected. Are you interested, Adam?
Yes, I am. I'd love that.
Okay, great. So I'll connect the 2 of you to coordinate that. I'll send an email to you guys separately.
Yeah, I'll try to go ahead and get the information for my other mentors as well on there.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. All of our first programs, except for FRC, you could buy the robot ahead of kickoff. FRC is different. It's kind of weird. You get most of the goodies and essential stuff at kickoff. So you really aren't in a position to build a robot ahead of, in that rookie year. It's kind of, it can be frustrating as a rookie team come on board. There's not a lot to be built before kickoff. And just recognize that you will get everything on that first day. Oh, any other questions? What's that, Adam?
All I know is that after having built the chassis during the summer training, I'm really glad that they have a kit box because, man, I can only imagine trying to train my students to do that.
And I emphasize this. I know some of you come from other robotics programs. FIRST is a very open, let's help each other program. And so I'm not going to offer any schools, but in general, a lot of our teams, our veteran teams, are willing to have other teams come by and build in their shop and share ideas. So keep that in mind. If you do get stuck anywhere along the way, let us know. We can maybe find someone to help out. Other questions? How's everyone feeling going into the season? Go ahead, Jenny.
I put a message in the chat, and thank you, Tracy, for responding. I'm kind of hoping that there's other teams that are interested, but looking forward to next year, not this year. It's way too close to the when we're not prepared whatsoever. But I know our team would really benefit from going to an off-season event. I know 987 is going to an off-season event out of state this year. And we'd like to also, but the budget for going to another out-of-state event and organizing an out-of-state event this early in the year with new kids and you're not sure who's committed and all of that, it's like an issue for us. So we've opted not to go out of state, even though we really see the benefit of an out-of-state, or we see the benefit of an off-season event. So what I'd like to do, I've talked to some teams from Arizona that have put together their own off seasons, and I'd like to kind of copy their model. But there's no point in putting in the work unless there's Vegas buy-in. There has to be buy-in from you guys, from the coaches. So I'm just curious how many of you would be willing. It wouldn't be free because it would cost us some money to to rent trucks and rent equipment and spaces and things, pay custodians and things like that. So there would be a small charge just to cover expenses. But so let's say $300 to $500. How many coaches in this call would be interested in going to an off-season event in like October or November of next season?
I see Joe's hand go up. Tracy's thumbing up.
All right. Okay, thank you.
A-Tech. Bonanza's a maybe. Boulder City would. You've almost got 100% for
five
just what,
local.
yeah, almost 100% of our teams represented on here. Yeah. And Jenny, if that's something as well as you want to help coordinate, we can put it on the Facebook group. And then one of the things I'm trying to do with this conference coming up is trying to get the coaches in the room together while the kids are out doing other things. So there'll be another time to bring that conversation up as well. So you might have even a larger audience for that. Yep. Good. Any other items? We are at the hour.
Ribo, do you want to make a quick comment about the XRP robots?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right.
I don't have mine with me. Oh, yeah. I'd give you mine.
This is an XRP robot. The hope with these robots and whatnot is so it will give you guys a platform to train students using the WPI lib VS Code platform to program these robots. So Currently, it's an alpha stage and whatnot, and there's not too much documentation on it currently. But the hope is in the future that you can train students with this robot, and they'll be able to program an FRC robot a lot more easier. But currently, it's very alpha, very new. Rookie teams, I know you're going to get one in the kit of parts, I'm pretty sure. Unfortunately for veteran teams, they're not getting one in the kit of parts. But you can still order these, and they're offered at a discount. So that's all for me.
So First Nevada has bought a set of those. We just got them, like a week ago. As Angela said, it's so new. Him and I are trying to kind of chip away at potentially, ideally in a future, have a workshop that uses those smaller XRPs to learn how to program, specifically using a WPI library, so that you really are getting that FRC experience. But we're still learning it ourselves to figure it out. Angelo was, if you haven't met him yet, he was a alum of Silverado's team, and basically kind of did most everything for them. So he's got some good programming experiences helping us out with that. Good. Well, do we have any other questions? Go ahead and unmute. We're at an hour, so if you need to head out, I understand. But I'll stay on as long as you've got questions. Go ahead, Diane.
Hi. I have a question about the event that's going to take part tomorrow at 9 a.m. Is
Okay.
it something that we all need to do? I mean, is it something that we just, I guess I'm a little confused about it. So if you can go over it one more time, what we need to do.
Yeah, so here's the idea is that we don't know where you're going to compete. So, and when I say we, I'm just a nebulous we. We don't know where you as Bonanza wants to compete. So you could, in theory, compete in California, Utah, or if you're crazy, go to Florida. You can go wherever. Now, you are a sponsored team from us, from Tesla and NDE. So we do have the requirement that you compete at the Las Vegas Regional. When you become more veteran and you build up your bankroll, you may even compete at multiple events. And so you might be competing at a California event one weekend and then do the Las Vegas Regional another weekend. And so what this is all about is you're telling first, what is your priority in events that you want to attend? So if you do want to go to multiple events, what's your first priority? Which regional do you want to do first and foremost? What's the second most important one, or the second most likely that you would want to go? If you're only going to go to one event, you still need to sign in and tell us that's your one event.
Okay.
And then sign in. So I think, Banana, are you fully registered? I think you are already.
Yes.
Now.
Mm-hmm.
So you should be able to go into your team dashboard starting tomorrow, and it's really just a couple of clicks, and you just let first know that the Las Vegas Regional is your number one choice.
Okay.
And if that's the only one you intend to go to, only put one down, and just that one. If you are thinking about going to multiple events, then you can rank them and say, okay, Las Vegas is your number one choice, Utah is your number two choice, Arizona, whatever, it's number three, and you can rank it out. And then the system will start populating which event you're going to. So and they use the phrase, it's event preferencing. So it's just telling first, where do you want to compete as a team?
Okay. And then I have one last question about programming.
Yes.
Will there be workshops? I know you showed the robot that you have like a practice, to help teach the kids. Will there be a workshop at the fall?
I'm going to say yes. And we actually have a plan A and plan B. So Simran has already replied that they would like to run a workshop during that fall conference. Okay. And so for sure, either they're going to do it, and or Angelo and I will do it with the XRPs if we can get it figured out in time.
Okay.
So
this is the firmware and the software is in alpha phase, so there's not even a beta for it and whatnot. So it's very new, lots to figure out and whatnot, but we're working on it and we're hoping for the best with these robots. So
okay.
Yep. So in one fashion or form, there's going to be a programming workshop coming. As Simran's already offered, and then we're going to look into it as a backup as well.
Okay, and the kit, we don't really need anything other than that. Is there any other resources outside of the out of the convention that you guys are going to hold, for programming, or any ideas of, if the team as a whole wanted to like maybe take or sign up for a class? Is there something that you've worked with in the past that works pretty good?
This is new to us, so I can speak to past workshops. Usually, if it's a programming workshop, we usually ask the team to bring a laptop or two. Okay. Other than that, we ask the host really to provide the resources. And so if it's anything hands-on, like I know in the past, for example, Simran has taught electronics, and would walk through how to solder. They would have their own soldering irons there with some wires and whatnot. Teams wouldn't have to bring that in, not expect to. Last year, Andy's team at Green Valley did a bumper workshop, and they had the materials there to support that. So we recognize you're traveling, and we don't expect you to fill up your car with a bunch of goodies to bring it over. So we're going to try to, as best we can, not ask teams to bring anything other than a laptop. But I say that with, give me an option maybe of something small to bring along. Because this is new. The conference is a new idea, and we're trying to figure out exactly what it's all going to be about. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Diane, so relating to the programming workshop proposal that we presented, given the duration of the workshop that's anticipated, we were looking at having at least 2 hours in the morning for rookies, for newcomers to the programming world, and then the afternoon would be a step up to more advanced programming situations. So there's an opportunity for a rookie to start out in the morning that has no experiences, and then if they want to continue in the afternoon with the advanced bit of information as well. Or if they're just feeling comfortable with just the basics in the morning, then they could move on to other workshops that'll be in the afternoon.
Great. Okay. Cool. Sounds cool. Thank you.
And Diane, I'm going to call you out here a little bit here. If you want to present on surviving that rookie year and everything that can happen, I think you'd be awesome at it. The other one I would maybe ask you about is, how do you fundraise so quickly when you end up going to Worlds? So, but that might be a good spring conference one. So I might be sending you an email separately. Yeah.
Yes. You know what? I just did a lot of talking.
It's an art form for sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, definitely. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have at the conference, are we expecting like 2 sessions, 3 sessions that the kids need to plan to go to?
I would ask there's 2 questions. There's kind of 2 ways to answer that. Each team doesn't have to do multiple sessions. So you can, if you only have one topic you want to do, then that's fine. I may ask you to repeat that topic depending on how many we get registered. Because if we do multiple parallel sessions, I want the ability of someone to not miss something. So I may ask your team to repeat it maybe the first time and then in session group 3 or something, or in the morning and once in the afternoon. And as we finalize that schedule, I'll get back to you on that. And it really, again, as we figure out this first one and what the response is like, we're still figuring it out. But potentially we might ask them to repeat it. If we have enough demand. Yeah.
Okay. And then for the students who are like all my new kids who are joining, how many would they be going to 2 sessions or 3 sessions? And then is programming going to be a double block like last year?
As Joe was just describing, the programming is going to sound like it'll be all day, where there'll be kind of an introductory version in the morning and more advanced one in the afternoon. And so it might eat up the entire time we have there. Allowing them to come and go as they need to, and depending on their expertise and prior knowledge. So Joe's giving me the thumbs up. So I'm not making up stuff here. I'm getting the confirmation. Yeah, I think what was the other part of that question? Sorry.
Are we planning, like last few years, there's been just 2 sessions, but since it's a little longer in the day this year, is it 3 sessions since each one is an hour and a half?
Well, so I'm still sketching out a time, an hour and a half. What I'm going to do, and then Joe, I'm going to send you a proposal schedule tomorrow.
Okay.
That would include a lunch break as well, and that might stretch it just an extra half an hour. Understanding that, because I really want to provide opportunities to network, both from the kids' perspective and the adults. So if we have a little downtime where there's not sessions going while we're eating as well. Yeah.
Okay. And then another question. Are you planning any adult-centric workshops for all the adults? Just because I have like young mentors also that might be interested.
It is my hope, and one of the ideas I have here, and we're still fleshing out, is UNLV is going to potentially be speaking about their mentor program and what that is and what that UNLV class is. And it's really that sort of topic is directed to the coaches. And so I would like to have all the coaches go into the room, hear that, and then provide some time for you to network. And so Jenny can talk about her proposal and really just kind of learn each other's backgrounds and know what they can do. I've even thought about having an icebreaker activity to kind of get you guys working together just to kind of introduce each other. So the intention is, yes, is to have at least one session dedicated to the adult coaches only. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're confident enough to allow the kids to kind of do the sessions on their own.
Yes.
Yep.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And of course, and I do want to emphasize, this was a thought that I came up with and bounced off Angela and some others. If everybody has suggestions for ways to make it better, please let me know. I do want to make this a community-driven effort. So if you have ideas like that, if you really want to see a coach-driven session, let me know, and we'll see what we can do to bring it together. Yeah.
I have a question or
Yeah.
a suggestion. As far as like as a rookie, with first year, second year robotics team, perhaps, if there was a shorter segment of maybe not 90 minutes to talk about something, but maybe a little shorter, and maybe share with another group that maybe, could have a shorter session too, and we could, piggyback on, 45 minutes each, something like that. It might be something where I could share the session with somebody. Is that an option?
No, and I thought about that too. Because we have a couple of retired coaches that are still in the area and want to stay involved, and they have some really amazing knowledge in their head, and I would like them to share it. But I also agree it's not a full session's worth of material.
90 minutes, yes.
Yeah. So yes, I'm very open. I've already been thinking about that, to maybe having mini talks within a session, especially from coach to coach. I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's so I've been building up. I've been doing these back-to-back coaches corners, which has occupied my time this week. Tomorrow I'm going to start thinking about this conference full force. So trying to get it flushed out. Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Good.
keep.
No, I like that feedback. Good.
All right. Thank you.
Good. So for our younger coaches, if you can just make sure to put that date on your calendar, and whatever students you have gathered, bring them out. It's going to be a great day of just bringing us all together. All right. Any last questions? Oh, we got Joe. Wait. Jenny, did you raise your hand or clap? No, that was Joe clapping. I think we're all good. Nice. Well, I appreciate the feedback. Thank you, everyone. I'll stay on for a few minutes, but you're more than welcome. Head off. And this was recorded. Share it with the other coaches and whatnot. Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to another exciting season.